I'm going to talk about spring cleaning. This is a topic that, especially at the University of Miami, where we go back to 1999 with Blackboard, and people have copied courses and copied courses and copied courses. Spring cleaning is a chance to go into your course site and take a good look at it and see what could be cleaned up, what could be improved. So let's get started. I'm going to use this is a memory mapping tool called MindMeister, mindmeister.com, and excuse me, I use a program called iThoughts on my iPad, and then I can export it and bring it into this. So I'm going to try this to go through my presentation today. It's mainly conceptual. We'll have a few cases where we jump over Blackboard. Spring cleaning in the olden days, and actually just before my time, consisted of people taking everything in the house out of the house, cleaning the house, cleaning the things, and then bringing everything back in. And this was once a year, especially after winter when you'd have the houses closed up and everything going on. Spring cleaning was an important event. So I've broken it down into 5 steps. Letting in the light. We're going to throw open the curtains. We're going to turn on the lights. We're going to take a look at what's there. In this case, the course site. Dusting and cleaning. Little stuff, just getting the cobwebs out and the dust out and improving the site with that. Polishing the silver. It's a little deeper down, trying to make sense of what's going on and improving it. Rearranging the furniture. An interesting side effect of taking everything out of the room is when you bring it back, you normally put it in different places and try a new way of doing it. And that's one of the things that you can do to improve your course site and class in general is think about making some changes. And then assessing the results, sitting back, taking a look at it, trying it out, see how it works. So, first thing I want to talk about is letting in the light. I'm going to mention 2 things. Using student view. One of the things in Blackboard is the ability to go into student view and see what the student sees. I'm going to switch over to Blackboard Learn here. I'm looking at a course site, and up toward the top you see Go to Student View. Okay. If I click on that, a number of things are going to change. You're not going to see create announcement because a student can't create an announcement. This menu bar, all the stuff at the top disappears. All these little boxes disappear. And a bunch of things are going to actually be hidden. It'll be announcements and syllabus, and then I think it'll jump down to course documents and then discussion boards. So let me hit the student view and look particularly at the menu bar on the left. And notice there are only 5 things that the student sees. So that's what you need to focus on, not what you see in the background, but what the student sees. So working with student view, you're preparing for the party, you're seating your class ready for the students, whatever. This shows you exactly what they see. And if you go into your user list, you'll see that there is a BB demo account that has been created, and that's the demo student. That's the student that's seeing this. And because it's a real student, you can actually go in and submit assignments and take tests and then grade them and see what the results are and all that. But that's not for this assignment, except for this presentation, except to say that this is a real student in your course. It is a student that has been enrolled in your course, a demo student. You can take it out anytime you want. You click on that, go to student view, it'll appear again. Return to teacher view, I go back to that. So one thing to do to open up the windows and see what's going on is to go to student view. See exactly what the students see. The other thing is to use your student mind, not your teacher mind. Students in general have a few questions. What do I do next? Where am I in the course, in the site? Am I done? And why am I doing this? Is it because it's an activity that I really need to participate in? Is it for a grade? You know, what's going on here? One faculty member, I remember, made a document folder and just put all kinds of resources in there, and then was surprised that the students never used it. And it's because they hadn't used the student mind. And the student mind says, what do I have to do? If you don't refer to it, if it isn't in that list, they won't see it. So as I'm going through the next stuff, I want you to remember this student view and student mind. The next thing is dusting and cleaning. And dusting and cleaning is pretty simple on a Blackboard site, and it consists of removing unused menu items. So if I go back to my Blackboard site, and I take a look at this course, and I say, well, there are only 4 things. There are 5 items that are in my menu. But when I go to Teacher View, I see all these other ones. Well, I can get rid of those. There's no reason for me to have them there. They're just confusing me because I might put something in there, or I might think that the students can see it, and they can't. Now, there are a couple little cues here, and I'm sorry, it's pretty small on your screen, but after course information, there's a box, an empty box, and that means that course information doesn't contain any content. There's nothing in it, and therefore, it's hidden from the students. If I put something in there, it would appear. As soon as I put something in there, it would appear. So if I am going to use that, I may want to put something in there and keep using it, but I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to put anything in course information. I've already got syllabus. That's where the course information is. So I'm going to remove it. Blackboard has this habit that you have to hover over something for the downward arrow, the action menu, to appear. I take that and I say delete. It says, are you sure? It will also delete all the content items within it. Right? But remember, there was nothing in it. It's empty. So after verifying that that's correct, looking at the screen, seeing the empty box, I can just hide the link, but I'm going to delete it. It's gone. Between syllabus and faculty information is where it was. It's gone. For me, students couldn't see it anyway, but I've cleaned it up. Here is one, faculty information, that has a slash through the box. What does that mean? Well, that means that the content is hidden from the students. There's no information found, but faculty information is something that is visible in general, so I'm not going to do any faculty information. I've got it in the syllabus. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to delete that, delete it, delete it. So I would go through each one of these. First, the ones that are empty. Web links. Am I going to use web links? No. Communication, probably not. Assignments, I may or may not, or I just might put everything into course documents. Contacts, no, I don't expect to use that. Contacts and faculty information are the same, by the way. They create a record for people, the people associated with the course. PA, instructor, coordinator, whatever you need for the students to know about. And again, most of that is in the syllabus, so you can take it all out. And instead of deleting each one of these, I'm going to leave them there, but show you that you can delete them. We go back to my student view, and before I leave, I need to look at this and say, okay, announcements. Am I using the announcements? I hope that you are, because the students expect to see the page change once a week. They expect to see something new in your site once a week. And all that takes is a new announcement. All it takes is a chance to tell the students, we've been covering this next week, or this week, now we're going to move into this next week. Or next week we've got a major test, then Unit 1, and then we'll be beginning Unit 2. Or I'm really happy with the work that we did this week on da-da-da-da. Any announcement that you could walk into class and turn to the class and talk to them and tell them, just put it in the announcement box. At least once a week. Even if there is nothing special, we're not going to cancel class, no hurricanes coming, nothing like that. But do post an announcement once a week, and that will tell the students that there's something going on. Syllabus, often that sits pretty much static during the semester. It is the syllabus. If you have to correct it, you can put it in there. Course documents, somewhere you've got to have the course itself and all the material and all that kind of stuff. Discussion board. In the original Blackboard, you needed a discussion board sitting up in the menu bar. In the current Blackboard, you're going to likely have the discussion links right in the content with course documents. So you're going to have, okay, read this and then go to this discussion board and do the following, and a link to the discussion board right there. So I can actually get rid of this discussion board. The discussion board still exists. I just don't need to have a link to it there. And I can probably get rid of view grades if I want to. Now that's an example of a tool, and note that the tools are not available right now. And one way to get to it is to have this tools link and have everybody go through the tools link to find view grades. And the other is to say, well, we only use a couple of tools, so I'm going to pull them out to the front and put them into the menu bar. And remember, you can do that. If there is a tool that you want, and this will come later, but I mean, right now I'm just talking about cleaning things up, and since I mentioned it, I'll go over there. There's this plus up here in the menu bar, and you can add anything you want. So if I want to add a tool link, say I just deleted the discussion board and then realized, oh, but I don't use discussion boards. I just go to the tool link, I go back to the discussion board, I decide what I want to name it, which could be anything that I want, and then submit it. And there's a new, and I say available to users, otherwise it's hidden to them. And I submit it, and boom, I've got a new item on my menu bar. Okay, let's go back. I have to be careful. Blackboard sucks me in as I start talking about it. I'm going to talk about this spring cleaning stuff more than the details of Blackboard. So the next one is the polish the silver. And one of the things you should do is look through the menu bar and the items that you've created and all, and think about renaming them. See if the name is good. And this is the use your student mind, right? Look at the student's perspective. So when you're renaming, focus on student activities, not topics. Focus on what they're doing, a verb that they're going to do. Tell them if there's a description, or in the verb, what to do, not what it is. And this is a task the faculty have to work at, because in the process of getting your doctorate and degrees and doing your research and all, you're often defining what something is. You're doing abstracts, you're summarizing, you're doing all that. And so when you hand somebody a folder of a paper, you're going to tell them a little bit about that paper. But what students want to know is, what are they supposed to do with this? Is this something to read before the test? Is this something that they will, you may use this might be one of the papers that you use, this may be a citation for your next paper. We'll be talking about this on the discussion board, so read this before you participate in that activity. So tell the students what to do. Now again, if I go back just for a second to this Blackboard, announcements, that's what it is. could we change that to be something for the students? And that might be check daily, right? Or check before class or something like that. Telling them, again, what to do. The syllabus. These are rules of the course in many cases, and I've talked with faculty. I mean, when I was teaching, and my brother is a faculty member, and I talk with faculty all the time, and you get frustrated because it says right in the syllabus that if you're absent, do the following. and whether it's write a paper or, you know, we give you one absence that doesn't matter, or I don't keep attendance, whatever you want to do. But in the syllabus, it will say what the policy of this course is, and the students then do something else because they're in another course that does it differently, or they don't want to remember, or they don't remember. So at this point, the question is, well, what do students do with the syllabus, right? And by the way, after the freshman year, they know what a syllabus is. As a freshman, they often don't even know what a syllabus is. So read the rules of the course. I'm not sure what to put in there, but again, that's the what should they do with this. Course documents. Often that's the everything for the course. Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, and all the content. So this is where they're going to do their work. This is where they're going to do their reading and everything else. So again, a better description than course documents. I get this discussion board, and I'm talking about collaborating with other students and conversations. Some people might call that writing to learn or writing to think. And view grades, that's a pretty good one. If the student wants to view their grades, that's where they go. So that's the best of these 5 that I've got in this course right here, as far as I'm concerned, because it tells the student, you want to view your grades, here's where you go. Okay, so let's get back to what to do, not what it is. If you're going to make add a document to the course, why are you adding it there? And if your answer is ever, because students might be interested in it, don't bother, because they have too much to do. Give them material that will help them learn your course and tell them that it will or how it will. In many cases, give them points for it, because they know that grades are determined at the end based on points, and how many points they'll get or what they have to do to get those points and all. And that's one of the models we follow. Okay. So the next one is rearranging. Let's see. Let me get rid of that. And rearranging the furniture. So those have been a couple things. You know, remove the empty stuff and take a look at the wording and what's going on. Rearranging this furniture is really spending time on the course and thinking about how it's designed and what's going on. I'm going to go through this quickly because it's a lot of material, but I'm happy to discuss it with anybody. Start here. Most course sites would improve with a start here entry. Right under announcements, I would put start here instead of the syllabus. And I put the syllabus in there, and I put information about how to succeed in this course and information there. I would probably put in that start here the contact information and things like that, so that students know when they come to the course site where to start. Make things sequential. A number of systems that compete with Blackboard, rather than being based on a menu structure, the menu here, jumping you around, so here you go into course documents, and here you go into the syllabus, and another one might be assignments or whatever, and you're jumping in and out. They're Facebook-like. It's just the sequence. So as you're working on the course, you start ticking things off from the top and working your way down. And that's what it's talking about when it says make sequential. Step by step, what do I have to do in order to complete my work, in order to get things going? And make sure that that's how it's organized for the student. It will help them. Groups of 7 or fewer items. 7 plus and minus 2 is short-term memory. If you're going to have a group, if it's a sequential group, you could just have it numbered, and that's fine. But if it's not sequential, and it's more than 7 items, you're not going to remember what's there. And in fact, if you go into Blackboard and start adding things and see this long menu of items, if it's longer than 7, you can't remember what's there. You know the few that you use, but the other ones are just lost to you because you can't keep it all in your head at one time. So try to group things, try to put things into groups of 7 or fewer items. If you can take your course and break it into 7 or fewer concepts that you're going to cover, or the units, or the whatever, the questions of the course. That's a great thing to do to help rearrange the furniture as you're putting things back into the course, as you're figuring out where they go. Defining a process, and this includes your class time. As you may have links or items in there, you know, lecture, attend lecture stuff. But there are some examples here of processes, learning models. Kolb's experiential learning, where you experience on it, and you experience something, and you reflect on it, and you create, and you apply it, something like that. And if you're not familiar with Kolb, K-O-L-B, go in and learning model, look at that. Constructivism is another learning model that has certain expectations about what the student will do step by step by step. BIBES, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, BBs, 5E learning process, and I don't remember the E's, but it's like exploration and things like that. And if you can define a process and say, okay, each chapter, each unit, each whatever week, we're going to go through this process. And the first time through, we're going to do it maybe at a high level. And, you know, because they don't have a lot of expectations the first week that you have much experience with this. But the next week, you're going to be more and more on your own and expect you to do it better. And each week or each unit or whatever, we're going to repeat that process, that learning process of doing things. If you can do that, then that helps reinforce to the students what's going on and helps them. You can scaffold, you can help them the first time and help them less the second time until they're doing it on their own. I've got this one, make your own. I remember one course I looked at that someone had made, and they said, okay, what we're going to do here is read the book, come to the lecture, do your homework, and do a group activity with your team, and then write a paper. You know, reflect on this and summarize it and turn in your paper, or something like that. If you want to make your own, that's fine. Nothing is magical about any of these. It's you get to create this learning experience for your participants. So maybe you want to record a quick overview and put that online. So even before they come to class or anything else, they can just hear what you say about this content that we're about to begin, say this unit. And in Blackboard, you can use Kaltura to do that recording right in Blackboard, and it's embedded in your course in a way that anybody can see it on mobile devices, whatever. Read the textbook content. And note that here are good examples of verbs, right? So instead of just saying textbook pages, read the textbook. Create questions from the text. Maybe that's one of the things that I might have the students do and have had the students do when I taught them. They need to create questions from the text and submit them. Watch case information. I present a case, a situation to them. Reflect on the case, which actually says, okay, stop, think quietly. Here are 3 questions. Think about these. Discuss the reflections. That's a link to the discussion board, but it's their reflections that we're discussing here. Take an assessment. And this could be a self-assessment, or it could be a 4-points assessment. And then reflect on your learning. And this might be a journal that they keep at the end of every unit, talking about what this meant to them and how it relates to them and their experience of learning, and how easy or hard it was, and all that kind of stuff. So try to find a process for your material. It'll make more sense to the students. It will help them understand what's going on, and hopefully they'll be able to apply it when they get to other courses and other learning that they're involved in. Let me get rid of that. And finally, using colors to reinforce patterns. All I want to say there is, one of the things in Blackboard is that you can use colors for titles and all that kind of stuff. If you've defined a process, pick some colors and repeat them. So every time that they go into a new unit's material, they'll see the same colors. So if I'm going to give them the learning objectives, and note that, oh, I don't have verbs here, this is the old-fashioned way, I should rewrite this. Absolutely, I should. But put the verb up there of what they're supposed to do with it, and then use colors to say the learning objectives, we're always going to start with that. And find out why I think this is important, or what they're going to learn in this section. This is one where I just thought of an example where I have them write in their journal at the beginning, right after doing the learning objectives. I expect them to go to their journal and just talk about what they know about that subject and any questions that come up while they think about the objectives, to prepare them to start thinking about where they're going. There are 3 things of content here where they're going to learn. Content will be presented to them. The textbook, or text in Blackboard, the PowerPoint. Every textbook comes with PowerPoint, and I often use it. So the PowerPoint and a video, either one that I've made or one that I found on YouTube or NBC Learn. Great stuff on NBC Learn, by the way. And these are kind of passive in one sense. They're going to read the text, they're going to watch the PowerPoint, they're going to watch the video, but it's all content-oriented. Then they're going to participate in the discussion board. So I would have got that in a kind of gold color. Then they're going to do an activity, a dark blue color. They're going to do an assignment, brighter red. And at the end of the unit, they're going to write in their journal again. Now that they've taken it, what do they think in it? And you can decide the journals are probably private. You can look at them, and you're not going to look at every writing activity in them. You're going to glance through them at the end of the course or partway through the course or whenever you'd like. But if you do use journals. But note that they've written in the journal twice, same color, and it gives them an idea. Hold it, is there anything new here? Is everything where I expect it to be? And they won't even recognize the colors. They won't recognize that the discussion board is always in gold, but they'll get used to it and be able to find it very quickly. So I do encourage you, as you're putting things into your course, as you're rearranging the furniture and making sense of it, to think about using colors to focus the students on what's going on. The final one that I've got here is to flatten the content. Anything that is more than 2 clicks deep is going to be hard to find. So if I have to click on something in the menu bar, let me go back to my course here. If I have to click on something in the menu bar, and then I have to click in a folder, and then that's a whole bunch more folders, and finally I get to my content, that's too far. because I've lost track of where I came from. So I would rather see if course documents is filled with Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, or Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, or 1, the theory of da-da-da-da, 2, the next topic for the next unit and stuff, go ahead and bring those on and make the folders right here. Put them into the menu bar. And then the content will be closer to the surface. They'll be able to see where they are and click on it and go there. And again, going to teacher view, that is a trivial task. I click on the plus on the menu bar. I say what I want here is a content area. I'm going to call it 1. Intro to political correctness. I'm going to go ahead and make it available to users. Do that. It starts off down here. I drag it, click, and drag it up where I would like it. And I'm probably going to get rid of course documents as soon as I do this. And I'm going to repeat that process, make another content area, 2. First attempts, available to users, submit, pull it up to the top, make that for each one. I'm going to go into Intro to PC. I'm going to build my content. And as I'm building it, I create an item. One of the things that I do is go here and pick the color. I do that pretty fast. I'm going to remind you. Color of name. That's a color of the link. I click on that and I pick my color. So I'll pick this gold thing and I'll say apply, and I'll go here and say what you will learn. And then I'd go ahead and just put the content right here. I wouldn't make it a folder. I wouldn't go into it or anything. I'd put the content. 3 questions. Where did the PC come from? And now I change the IBM PC for political correctness, and so on. I'd submit that. And there we've got that first bit of content. Continue building content. Now, one of the nice things is if you've done all that, you could just start copying it back into the other areas, and so you don't have to remember colors and all that. But either way, we're on flattening now. You don't want to have them have to click, 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 click in order to get to wherever they have to. You want the material right here. You want the assessments here. You want the tools. You want the discussion board right here. You want everything in this area, preferably for the first unit, so that they can work on that, make sure that they're done with it, and move on. You can have a link to the journal right here, so that they can link to the journal page, create a new journal. I'm going to create a new journal. I'm going to call it Personal Reflections. Tell what you are thinking at this point in the course, what you are thinking about. It's available, everything is there. Index entries, monthly or weekly, that's fine. I'll do all this stuff, no grading. I may do a participation grade or something, and I submit it. And link to that journal rather than to the journal page where there may be lots of journals. This is where I put in the description for this one at this point. This is going to appear in 1 Intro to PC. I'll skip that, go ahead and submit it. Oh, it's in black. I won't do that. Edit. I think it was in green in my other example. Obscure dull green. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, So I'm building up this material and it just scrolls down. Some people simply have one thing that scrolls all the way down. I like it broken up into units. Oh, it's after 4:30. I apologize for keeping you late. So we're on assessing the results. There are a number of rubrics. Quality Matters is a company that has reviews courses, online courses, or of course websites. But it is, you pay to be a member of it, so you're not supposed to be able to find its rubric. But if you do look around for Quality Matters rubric, you might be able to find something that talks about how to create a good website. Blackboard Exemplary Courses rubric. If you look for that, exemplary courses, or Blackboard Exemplary Courses, this is a thing where you can submit your course and Blackboard will review it, or people, actually I reviewed one, Brett reviewed one. And those that are exemplary, that follow their rubric, which may, the definition of exemplary to them is follows what they say. That's a good way to look at your course and say, does it do what this says? And I may not want it to do what this says, but at least I've got something to baseline against. Student feedback, absolutely ask your students. Is there stuff that's hard to find in this site? What can I do to improve it? And classroom assessment techniques are just, you know, asking the students questions. Create a survey at the end of every unit. A faculty member in the School of Business gets 5.0s on a 5.0 scale on everything in his course evaluation. How does he do it? At the end of every unit, he gives his students an assessment and says, how could this unit have been better? Were there any parts that were really hard? Is there anything I could have done to make it better? And that he takes that, he often reports back to the students, here's what I've done and here's, you know, what I could do to, here's what I heard you say, so here's what we're going to try next week, or we've already started the next unit, but the next one over I'll do this. If you did anything on purpose that you did differently, go ahead and tell them, you know, I use this movie, I haven't used it before, was that good? This case study, whatever. And ask them. And Blackboard has surveys that are anonymous that you can ask the students. Well, this faculty member at the end of every unit asks the students to evaluate that unit. Takes advantage of it, tells the students, thank you, you know, I've learned from this, and at the end of the course, it gets 5 out of 5s. Why? Because the students have communicated with him and he has already responded. This isn't the first time they've evaluated him. This is the 10th time. So, and he has done this for years and continues to do it. Same course. Continues to ask this class, how is this? Is this helping you and all that stuff? Ask them, and ask them specifically about the website. Are there things that could be clearer? Are there things I could do? The Learning Platforms Team, that's our group. Let us know if you'd like us to take a look at your course website and either make suggestions or partner with you to make some changes in it and do some cleanup. You know, remove all this stuff that we're not using and have never used. And fellow faculty members, we don't have enough discussions about teaching. Yeah. We don't have enough discussions, I don't think, about what happens in the transmission of knowledge or the creation of knowledge in our students. That whole process and how we're designing our courses and what's working and what isn't working and all of that. But here's a very concrete example. Ask some other faculty member to take a look at your course site and give you some real specific feedback. Do they have some ideas of how you could make it better? So, have I finished? Yes, that finishes the spring cleaning. There's all kinds of other stuff you can do, but that's a quick overview. Michael.
Hey, Bill, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, good. Good to see you. Maybe you've heard, I think I have you on my list of reviewers I know I have Shane and Brett. I'm going to go live on the American Government for International Students course next Monday morning. So I'd very much like to have you all double check my roster and make sure you're there. And then we have a few little details to clean up, but the course is probably 85% done as is. And this will be my first foray into the actual teaching. I'm going to do it asynchronously, give them about a month, and I've got 4 major modules, about a week each month. So when you have a chance to look at it, and if you haven't talked to Shane already, he has done most of the technical work, a lot of the embedding videos. I've done most of the text part, but I'm probably going to need some help when it comes to uploading PowerPoints and assignments. I'm going to do the self-assessments after every module. And then I really liked your idea this afternoon about asking the students how I should improve that at the time, just after we've done it. I hadn't thought doing that, but I'm definitely going to do that for this this beta version, experimental version of the course. So anyway, it's POL 599. I'm going to also try to do virtual office hours with them. And I missed your presentation last week. Last week I actually had a tooth removed last week, so last week's kind of a blur. In more ways than one. And is there a recording of last week's your virtual collaborate session somewhere on the net so I can take a look at it?
There isn't on the net yet, but I'm going to put a link. We actually have, we've got a website that has, let me go back to resume sharing, make a new tab here, and it's Blackboard Info, I think.
Blackboard Info?
Boardinfo.weebly.com. Okay. Weebly is a site where you can make free websites, and that's currently where our content is. Now it's about to move, but when it does move, if you go to that page, it'll tell you where it moved to.
Okay.
Michael is designing a new thing, and if you go there, you'll see a Virtual Office Hours tab, and on that page you've got, I guess I haven't updated it since June 25th.
Here they are.
I went to Las Vegas, and I guess what's happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and you never come back. So I have to update those. But one of the things that I'm going to do right now, each one of these here, like using groups in your courses and creating and using panels and Qualtrics, that's just a little video where we've taken part of the presentation, chopped it up, made a video of it, and put it up. One of the things that I want to do is take each one of these dates and make that a link and have that go straight to the Collaborate session. You can drag and find what you want on it, but it gives you everything from Collaborate, including better screenshots. So we'll be adding to this. And Brett, if you're still on, can you make sure that Mike gets a link to last week's Collaborate session, Virtual Office Hour?
I'll get that right now.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hi, Brett. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Mike?
Yeah, good. All right. Well, we'll probably see you. I'm tentatively planning to start on Monday, but I'm not giving them. I'm not going to hold them to specific dates. I'll post the syllabus probably this afternoon for the course. I think Brett has seen it, and Brett's been working on some Collaborate lectures that I made this summer. And we also hope to have some of the actual recorded lectures that we did this summer through Craig Wilson and his shop.
Oh, great.
So hopefully those will be up by Monday too. But I think we've got some flexibility basically within a month or so, and I'll try to get as many of the self-assessments in there. But I'm looking forward to working on this with you. It's kind of the inspiration from FLC, and this will be the first one I've ever done. So
great.
We'll do the best we can, but it's finally coming into reality. I'm pleased about that.
Excellent.
Yeah, well, good.
Mike, before you go, just wanted to let you know that in the chat window, the link there is a table of all our recordings for this session. And if you go down to the bottom, you'll see the most recent one is last week. And after we're done here, it will show the recording for this week.
So it's on Blackboard information or Collaborate information?
Yeah, that list right there is all of our recordings for this session. That's something that's auto-generated by the Collaborate system.
That's the same thing I did with our courses, my courses this summer. It's exactly the same format. So I'm familiar with that part of it, even though we had the problem with converting them over to MP4s.
Yep, we've got somebody working on converting those manually right now.
Very good. All right, sir. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you again, both of you guys, next week.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you.
And just a quick mention of next week. Next week we're going to be doing Retention Center and Performance Dashboard with Rick and Brett.